Fit Nation, it is day 37 of the challenge, and if you have not, well, today's actually day, you have to send in your feedback, so make sure you send it in to me by the end of tonight, please. And yesterday I talked a little bit about, or somebody asked about Boost, that Boost nutritional shake. So I want to look into it because I said to you that, doesn't have very good ingredients. But I couldn't remember what the ingredients were. So just like so many things I have in my brain, I don't often remember the reasoning why for something, but I might know that something is, recommended or not recommended, but I don't remember exactly why. Anyways, so I went back and looked at the ingredients, and sure enough, there is. I mean, it's a terrible drink. Okay. With the exception of the milk protein that's added in, the ingredients are glucose syrup, okay? Sugar, I don't know why they say sugar. I'm assuming they mean sucrose, because sugar is like, it's almost like saying carbohydrates. It's like, it doesn't really tell us what exactly. And then, so that's basically, we got glucose syrup, we got sugar, and then we got vegetable oil. Okay, and I'm going through the list as they're presented, right, from first ingredient. So that's not totally true. We got glucose syrup and then milk protein, okay? Then sugar, and then vegetable oil, okay? So take out the milk protein. You've got your three main ingredients with the exception of milk protein. You got glucose syrup, you got sugar, and you got vegetable oil. Like the worst things possible, okay? Vegetable oil, you might be thinking, well, isn't that okay, or isn't that, well, they're polyunsaturated fats. They're like highly unstable fats. They are fats that are the most prone to oxidation, so they are the most carcinogenic fats. I would stay away from these. Listen, when we evolved as humans, we were never subjected to eating large amounts of vegetable oils. It just didn't happen. We didn't process them. We didn't have them. We only had things like access to some of the monounsaturated fats that we have today, and of course the saturated fats, okay? And to some degree, the only polyunsaturated fat that you would see was maybe from like fish or something. But again, that's a very small amount in fish. So, but the vegetable oils are highly concentrated polyunsaturated fats. These are not good fats. They are cheap to produce, which is why they're in this drink. Glucose syrup is cheap to produce, that's why it's in this drink. Sugar, well, I don't know what kind of sugar this is, but I'm assuming it's obviously a cheaper form of sugar. So the moral of the story here is, like I've told you before, when you're looking at foods to eat, and there's some packaging or processing that's gone into it, look at the macros, and then go to the ingredients. Okay, so. Really, I guess one doesn't really necessarily supersede the other. So you could go ingredients then macros. But listen, if the ingredients aren't good, then I would just simply stay away from it. Like this is, I honestly, it baffles me that this drink is called a nutritional drink. Like seriously, like out of the first four ingredients, 3 of them are glucose syrup, sugar, and vegetable oil. The vegetable oil contains canola oil, sunflower oil, and corn oil. Like the worst possible ingredients you can put together. The worst. All right, so that's all I'm going to say on that. Oh, and also it is fortified with vitamins and minerals. Again, these are cheaper, less bioavailable vitamins and minerals. If you want to get a good bioavailable source of micronutrients, you're going to have to pay for it, okay? They will not come cheap. All right, and this drink is pretty cheap. All right, so do not recommend it at all. Not at all. All right, next question here. All right, so I noticed. So this person says, I noticed that in my MyFitnessPal sometimes gives me warnings when I go over my sugar or sodium levels. Will going over these levels be important for the plan? Should I try to stay within levels or is it okay to go over? All right, so the short answer to this is it's totally fine to go over, okay? Let me start off with sugar first. Okay. So it's measuring sugar in food. If you're having things like fruit in your diet, which you should be, it's probably not going to be that hard to go over your quote, you had too much sugar. But remember, it's not necessarily the sugar in and of itself, okay? We want to look at what comes along with that sugar, all right? So if you're eating candy, then clearly we don't want to be doing that. But if you're eating things like fruits and even vegetables that have sugar in it, okay? Things like carrots are pretty high in sugar, so are peppers. You know, when you look at starches, I mean, starches are just sugars, right? They're long chains of sugars. We don't consider them sugar, but they break down into sugar. So MyFitnessPal is not counting that as sugar, by the way. Okay, it's really looking at these smaller units of sugar. So if you're getting your sugar from fruits, okay, not fruit juices, but fruit and vegetables, I really would not be concerned with that, okay? Now keep in mind, sugar on its own is not the same as having sugar with fiber and protein and a good source of fat, right? So, you know, that's the other thing that it doesn't take in consideration. It just sees a level of sugar and says, okay, that's good, that's bad. Well, that's not really the whole story, okay? So I would not be concerned with it. If you do think that there is a concern, you can have me look at your journal and I can see what the sources of sugar are, okay? But I'm assuming you're not eating like desserts and pies and, you know, junk, boost shakes, okay? Now, sodium levels. All right, so this is something I can't understand. So basically, a rule was made out of the exception, all right? There is a very small segment of the population that cannot regulate sodium intake. Their body cannot regulate it well. And so their blood pressure goes up as a result. Maybe they have some other health issues along with that. That's a very small portion of the population. Sodium is an essential nutrient. I'm going to say it again. Sodium is an essential electrolyte that you need. And you have within the homeostasis of your body can regulate this. That is, if you don't get enough sodium, the body will do whatever it can to conserve the sodium. It'll try not to excrete any sodium. And likewise, if you have too much sodium, it's going to do what it can to excrete it. It's always going to try to keep a happy level of sodium. I would not be concerned with sodium. In fact, I would suggest having more sodium, given that you are working out to the degree that you are. You're basically working out 6 days a week. Somebody like myself, I take added sodium first thing in the morning. So I have this little concoction of lime juice, apple cider vinegar, and salt in the morning. And I also have extra salt before and sometimes even during my workout to help keep me hydrated. That's right. Hydration doesn't have to do just with water. It has to do with electrolytes, okay? And sodium is one of those electrolytes, okay? If you really want to make yourself feel terrible, try to go on a very low sodium diet. Just do that. And you will see how terrible you feel, okay? Ken can vouch for this, okay? Ken's been through this, he knows. I can vouch for it because we do a little sodium depletion when I'm competing for a short period of time. It is terrible. It is a necessary electrolyte that is required for things like movement of the body. Yes, you cannot move without sodium. You need sodium for the electrical conduction of essentially your nervous system, okay, which allows you to move, okay? So, and there's a whole host of other reasons why you need sodium. So I would not worry about sodium at all, okay? Unless you have some sort of genetic predisposition, you are in that very small group of people, then I would not worry about it, okay? So, So sugar and sodium when it comes to MyFitnessPal, don't worry about it, okay? All right, 10 minutes. Seriously? Okay. All right, message of the day. Let's get right to it. Don't call it a dream, call it a plan. Don't call it a dream, call it a plan. So just, you know, like, and this actually really applies to like so many things in life. If you want to achieve something, okay, if you want to do well in this challenge, you just have to plan for it. All right, and I've already gone through how to plan for it. You just have to plan and execute. That's all it's about, okay? And that goes for so many things in life in general. But it's the day-to-day, it's the everyday day-to-day that is the hard part. It's not hard to actually do it, it's just hard to be consistent with it, right? Or at least it seems to be for a lot of people. So, but I understand this because I deal with this in other aspects of my life as well. So, I do get it. I do understand. But you need to understand. You need to understand that it is really just that simple. That's it. It's just about executing reasonable and consistent measures over time. That's all it is. That's it. That is the secret. Out of all this whole thing of weight loss and everything, of maintaining your body weight, blah, blah, blah. That's all it is. That is the secret. All right. I'm just rambling, so I'm going to stop. Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude for everything you have, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.